Hey, so my original intent with a whole bunch of videos around seeking growth was it had to do with business and climbing and life stuff and growth in general in all the different aspects and different things that are happening in life and perhaps some shared learning and this sort of thing. One of the key things really that I was trying to create some content around before that I got hung up on and things get busy and blah, 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 excuse. Um, I was losing weight for climbing, and this was a little bit over a year ago. So, a little bit of a backstory, really quick, around that. I used to be super heavily active in mountain sports and all this stuff, and I was living in Banff at the time, so it was all accessible, right, like right there at the doorstep. I never ever had to even think about diet because I could eat whatever I wanted, and I'd be out so much it didn't really matter because I'd be burning all the calories off anyways. So enter the year that I moved to Calgary, had a kid, opened a business, all these things combined, all of a sudden my activity level went to virtually nothing. And I was so focused on getting my first business built up that everything else kind of took a back seat as far as exercise and activity in general. And, you know, 6 months goes by and I look in the mirror one day and poof, there it was. I was like, holy shit, who are you? I don't even recognize you. Like, I put on a lot of weight. I used to float around the 160-ish mark when I was doing all this stuff. Uh, and it's just something I'd never ever ever had to think about at all. And even at 160, I was always like, I could probably stand to lose 5 pounds and trim down a little bit more and this and that. So when I ballooned after moving to Calgary, it jumped up to like 210 at its highest. I was like, holy shit, I don't even recognize myself. This is absolutely insane. I've got to do something about this. And then years of struggle around trying to shed it off. And then I started getting back to the climbing gym again pretty frequently. And I was back gung ho into it and finally had some time to climb quite a bit. And I always kind of felt like my performance was lacking. I kind of wanted to start chasing performance a little bit. And of course, I wasn't performing as good as I knew I could be because of the extra weight and everything. And you'll see all these body positivity videos and all this stuff on YouTube. It's like, oh, weight doesn't matter. Bullshit. It totally matters. If you're fat and chunky and heavy, it's a lot to carry up a wall and it's noticeable. I noticed in the past, I noticed 5 pound weight fluctuations. Like 5 pound fluctuating 5 pounds for me means either red pointing something or not red pointing something. That's all there is to it. So when we're starting to talk about like 30, 40, 50 pounds, of course weight loss is going to help. And there's healthy ways to do it and there's unhealthy ways to do it. I won't get into that. But as far as like all the content I've been seeing on YouTube around the body positivity part of like weight loss is bad, you shouldn't be focused on that for climbing, bull fucking shit. I call bullshit on all of that. It makes it easier, period. And let's face it, if you're 40, 50 pounds overweight, in my case, what was I? I used to operate at around the 160 level. Always thought I could lose a few pounds from there. My peak weight got up to like 210, maybe 215 when I wasn't paying attention to it. So that right there is a difference of, holy crap, that's 50 pounds plus. That's a lot. Don't tell me that slimming down isn't going to help with performance and climbing and everything else. Of course it is. It's common sense, but hey, there's something we're lacking these days anyway. Anyways, I won't go on a rant about that too much. So got up to 210 at my peak, and then I did my first diet and slimmed down to, what did I get down to on that one? On that one, I got down to 190, and I was feeling good, pretty good. From 210 down to 190, when I was climbing at 190, after all that, I guess my body was used to carrying the extra weight or something, but because I was ridiculously strong, I think some of that 190 weight shifted to muscle as well. There was a lot going on there. But no, it was mostly fat. I'm not saying it was muscle as an excuse or anything like that. So yeah, I was climbing stronger than I ever had been, even when I was 160 living in Banff and 29, 30, 31, 32 years old. So that was good. I was feeling pretty good because I was losing weight. I plateaued there and I stalled out there. That first initial drop, I was like, I was watching this movie. I can't remember. I can't remember what the movie was on Netflix, but it was about performance athletes and veganism. So that very afternoon after the movie, I decided to try switching over to a vegan diet. The first 3 days sucked. They were absolutely horrible. From day 4 onward, this ties into my current situation right now, by the way. From day 4 onward, I ended up getting more energy and my mental clarity was way better than it ever had been, which was incredible. And within a week I like went down 2 belt hold notches, and then within 2 weeks I like had to get rid of my belt entirely and get a new one. I was noticing it rapidly. I was shedding weight fast. And it was also a pretty highly calorie restricted diet. The reason why I didn't continue that is because around the 6-month mark, so the first few weeks were great. I shed a whole bunch of weight. I came down to 184, 185 from 191. Most of that was in the first few weeks because I was eating really healthy, really raw, and very calorie restricted. And then after that, the processed foods and the easy life starts to kick in again. And even though I was doing that, I was starting to get into processed foods again and stuff. So it kind of plateaued there. And then around the 6-month mark on this vegan diet, I started getting like no energy whatsoever. I was totally crashing and burning on the energy front. So I went to get my iron checked, and the doctor was like, yeah, you're low on iron. You got to get some iron back in your diet. So I went back to my old shop that evening after my doctor's appointment and ordered a steak on Skip the Dishes. Steak came. It tasted absolutely mint. It was the best thing ever. And then I kind of stayed at that weight for quite a while. Old habits slowly creep back in, and then got back up to 195, and then managed to catch it and stabilize it there. And then from 195, I kind of stayed there and I climbed, and I was climbing like crazy. Like my body was hungry. I got into swimming. I was swimming like 3 to 4 days a week, like lane swimming. And I was climbing at the same time. I was climbing like 5 days, 6 days a week in some cases, just week after week after week. But I wasn't shedding anything. It was all just kind of plateaued there. Like nothing was happening with my weight. And again, it was fully because of the diet I was eating. My body would be famished from like swimming and doing all this activity. So I'd like just eat whatever to make up for the hunger, which was the wrong thing to do. And then I ran in this app. I found this app, I think it was called My Net Diary app. So I started logging all my food to track the calories, and I did the whole calorie calculator thing and everything else like that, as far as your age and your current weight and your activity level. And the calculator does its thing and it spits out a daily calorie allowance that you should adhere to. And I used the My Net Diary app to track everything that was going into my body. Everything was going through that app. I just scan it and be done with it, and that's it. So that worked great. I slimmed down again after that. So that would have been last year. It's 2025 right now. So that would have been in 2024, pretty much exactly a year ago, like in the spring, I started doing that. Tracking everything. I had like 1,500 calorie allowance. It wasn't a vegan diet or anything. It was just a normal diet this time, but just on a calorie restriction. And it worked great. I started slimming down. I got from 191 or whatever. I'd come back up to 195 or whatever it was. And I'd come down going into the summertime. I came down to like 179 is where it ended up. And I was feeling really good. Like I looked in the mirror one day and I did one of these, to see what was going on. And that was when I was 185. I did a little flex in the mirror I was like, holy shit, there's actually muscle under there. There's some stuff going under there that I've never had. So during all that, because of the amount of climbing and everything, I guess I was putting on muscle, but I just wasn't slimming down on the fat front. So yeah, I shed down to 179. I was feeling really good. I was looking good. I was feeling good. I was climbing harder. I was starting to push into like the 512 ranges when I started getting, when I started slimming down, when I got down to 185 is right around when I started on-sighting 11 plus, so 11D grades, and pushing into projecting like 12 A's and that sort of thing. And then 179 last summer, I was hitting like 12 A's within a session. I'd be hitting 12 A's and I was starting a project on 12s and I was getting some 12s within a few goes or maybe one or two sessions. I'd be getting like a 12B. 12 A's were fairly consistent and somewhat quick relative to what I was doing before, but I was pretty much on-sighting 11 plus, 11D consistently indoors. And so what happened last year? That was summertime. So going through summer was great and everything else. I was feeling really good. So I decided I'd stop tracking the calories in the app. The instant I stopped tracking the calories, I'd get home after a night of climbing and be famished and be like, oh, I'll have a piece of bread. And then it became, oh, I'll have a piece of bread with a slice of cheese on it. And it's like, wow, that was really good. I'll have two. That was a really hard session. There's no way I'm burning through my calorie allowances or whatever. I'll have two pieces of toast, I'll put some butter on it, and a slice of cheese on each one. Then the cheese became peanut butter, and then bang, right back up to 191 after the summer was over. So that's, what are we in now? We are in March. We're at the start of March 2025. So yeah, that kind of creep up started happening just before Christmas, basically, like maybe November. It kind of slowly started working its way back up to 191. So I'm like, all right, clearly I'm not consistent with tracking the calories on this app. That's not working for me. I need to start finding ways of standardizing what I'm putting in my body every day, and I'll just standardize it and eat the same fucking thing every single day, because that's what I have to do. That's what will work for me. And then I'd learned a bit about the first couple times. I'd actually learned a little something about the importance of diet and calories and fat and everything else. There's still some stuff I didn't know about, like carbohydrates and how they affect water weight and everything else. And I won't get into that because, I'm not an expert. It's easy to look up, but so yeah, enter Chat GPT and AI, because I use it a lot for my business. I use AI to basically, what I'm using AI for is I run a business, I'm a single dad, I spend a ridiculous amount of time at the climbing gym and I have no time for really anything else. And I have like decision fatigue just from running a business in general, the amount of decisions you have to make. I don't want to have to sit down, and I certainly don't have time to sit down and plan out large portions of meals. So I'm like, all right, maybe I'll try and standardize it somehow, but I have to solve this puzzle of how much to put in my body because I don't want to affect climbing performance. I have a trip to go outside climbing in Skaha in 3 weeks. I want to get back down to my fighting weight from last year, which was 179 as phase one, and then phase two, I'll get down to 160 again as a working weight, and then kind of reassess from there. But I'm like, how do I do this? How do I factor in training and all this other stuff? I'm like, shit, maybe I'll just check with ChatGPT to see if it could structure something for me, and I don't have to think about any of this stuff. I'll get it to tell me what to do, and I'll just do that and see if it works. So I'm like, I'm not going to do the vegan thing again because that was absolutely fucking brutal. And it's not good for me. Clearly, it doesn't work for me. The iron deficiency, you could say whatever you want about supplements and all this shit. Didn't work for me, not considering it. If you're vegan, good for you. I don't want to hear about it. So yeah, the program that I had ChatGPT kick out was like very high protein, low carb, and restricted calories, but not to the point I was doing last time because I didn't want to lose climbing performance during this process. But I started the prompt with like, I know this is going to be against all recommendations. I don't care. I don't want to hear it. I do want to lose 15 pounds in just 3 weeks. 15 pounds of scale weight. I don't care how it's done. Recommendations. I know it's against the rules and the shit, whatever. But we'll plan it in such a way so that I could do that for that initial hit and then restructure it so that it feeds back in some more calories and then slows down the weight loss from there. And then had it output what its feedback was on that. So it structured the plan in such a way that it would go hyper aggressive to start and then reintroduce some calories after the first phase. And then after I hit my goal weight, to restructure it again to maintain weight while slowly adding carbs back in a little bit slowly so that you don't have that whole bounce back, right? So it was pretty cool. Like I'll go over some other videos with some of my prompts and just updates and stuff. That's something I want to do just to kind of show you that the prompts are really important for it, like what you input and I'll put back. So as I've been interacting with this plan, I ask it questions, I have concerns, it spits out information back to me. I'm kind of lucky in the sense that I could kind of cross-reference some of it really quickly because the outputs aren't always 100% accurate. They're fucking amazing. They're really good. But I could generally catch stuff and then I'll hop on Google if I need to and look at some other sources just to verify. But because I've been through the process a couple of times now with the shedding weight and putting it back on and everything else, I kind of know if the information's good or not, just based on all the other sources I've read and everything else. And it's generally been pretty spot on. The only thing I have problems with it doing are like when I have it generate a meal plan for a week and I chunk it down to like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then I ask it to switch a meal within the plan with another meal in the day. Sometimes it mixes up. Sometimes it'll mix up like the food schedule. So I have to do it very orderly as far as how I have to be very specific on how I tell it to change things within the day. Like it'll forget to add something in, for example, the pretty minor stuff, but the plan itself has been absolutely solid and I'm going to run with it. So I started that on Monday. I implemented, here's another thing that's different from the calorie tracking app too, because I found it just a lot of work doing all this shit. Here I just run in and type in, I had 1 coffee today. I had a double, and it'll update it, add it in, and then it'll give me the calorie count right away. So what I've done, and is working for me and will work for me this time consistently, because the other stuff's worked too, the consistency thing is key, as is like the plan, the transition plan is key. The transition plan is always something that I've been missing, and I feel like that's super important because I know a lot of people will lose weight and then start rewarding themselves a little bit for doing so and then bounce right back up, or they'll do a diet and it's temporary and they'll go right back to their old eating habits after hitting the goal weight. So that's where I've kind of started structuring in the reintroduction, the transition plan from cutting calories and slimming down to maintenance weight and just structuring my weeks in such a way that it floats through. So in addition to this, I've been kind of doing HelloFresh because it's super easy. I don't have to, again, the less I have to think, the better, and it's good food. So with HelloFresh, I've been just pre-ordering my meals. I go onto their website, I cut and paste the nutritional information into ChatGPT. So I just cut and pasted it over, and I said, this is my HelloFresh meals for the week. Structure and organize it in such a way that prioritizes my goals around my strength training and my climbing nights. So it structures like the meals with more carbs in them. It'll structure the ones with protein in them, structure my breakfast in such a way that it supports my maximum energy and recovery times from my climbing sessions on like Tuesday nights and all this. So anyways, it gave me a strength portion of training too. So it combined the climbing with weights and with the diet all together. So this is another thing. I had no idea about this before either. Some of the feedback it gave me was, well, we're adding in these 3 strength days, like with weights and lunges and push-ups and all this shit. We're adding this stuff in because it took a lot of things into account. It's like, because you're cutting calories so aggressively and you still want to support your climbing goals with maybe a little bit of performance loss, and because it's so aggressive, you're going to do these 3 days of strength training in there so that you don't lose any of your other muscles that don't get used when you're climbing during the cut. Because one thing for me is I want to maintain all of my strength. I'm not willing to give up any strength as I drop the weight, because my fingers and my grip strength are very strong. I'm very happy with where that's at. So I don't want to lose that as I cut weight. So as I cut the weight down and maintain the strength that I currently have, like the strength to weight ratio will be through the roof. But anyways, I wanted to log this a little bit and kind of share how it's going for me, how it's been working so far. Today is Friday. I started this on Monday morning. My weigh-in on Monday morning was 192.8, and my weigh-in this morning was 188. So that's 4.8 pounds. So I'm expecting to be 5 pounds down tomorrow, maybe 5 point whatever. But the goal is 15 pounds in 3 weeks. Half of it's going to be fat and half of it's going to be water weight, which is fine. Scale weight, I just want to drop the weight for now, period. So the first 3 week kick, 15 pounds, super aggressive. I've lost 5. We're not even complete the first week yet. So I'm pretty excited to see where this goes, and I'll kind of, we'll jump into some of these videos and I'll kind of show you, and I'll do some updates around this. So the content going forward in this aspect will be using ChatGPT to structure out a plan and maybe some stuff that's working for me as far as diet and protein and all that stuff, and how the climbing's going, and some tips on improving that, some of the workouts I've been doing, and then just more life stuff in general around the business, because that's part of what I wanted to do too. So it's not a climbing channel per se. It's going to be, climbing is a huge part of my life, so there's going to be a huge climbing component to it, and then I want to get into business stuff and everything else. Like, I've been wanting to do that for the last few years, but the time to put together these videos is just, it's a lot of work. And the business aspect, there was just so much going on, and it was so dynamic. And if you've looked at any of my other YouTube videos, one of them is I was pulling into my shop in my vehicle, talking about how I just got through COVID and everything else, and wow, I was still open, and hopefully things are going well, and plan to keep the business open. I mentioned that I had the marketing agency as a backup plan to that, should that one time. Anyways, that one totally tanked. I closed the doors, and I've been doing the marketing agency for a few years now. So maybe I'll get into some more. I have a lot of life lessons around the business aspect and losing that business, and how this one's going, and what's worked for me and what's currently working for me very well, and everything else. But anyways, lot to go on about, but I'll cut the video here, and then I'll continue on with some more content. I will do my best to get content out there consistently, because my last video was a year ago, and it was like, I think I was just talking about starting my last cut, my last slim down. And if you watch that one, it went great. I got all the way to 179. I was paddleboarding. I was feeling good. And yeah, I went back up. So we're going to do this again. Fresh start. Let's go.